Hello and welcome to another Saints Live. I'm Steve Forbes.
And I'm Kenzie Benali.
And it's a chilly night here on the south coast as Southampton welcome Newcastle to St Mary's for the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final clash. Now both teams are at opposite ends of the Premier League table, but this is cup football and we're expecting an exciting night tonight, aren't we, Ken?
Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, magic of the cup, right? Anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen on the pitch, but we've already bagged ourselves a result up here on the gantry as we welcome former Southampton captain Dean Hammond and Premier League reporter Paul Belveston. Paul, second time in 4 days? An absolute pleasure to see you again.
Oh, it's great to be here. I'm looking forward to this. I've got my heated socks on, so I've got toasty toes. The DJ is playing this very loud music just for us because there's no one else in here. So the only thing that could make life better is a Saints win. So let's have one of those in a couple of hours, please.
Yeah, hopefully so. And Dean, are you wrapped up warm or is the magic of the cup keeping you toasty?
No, I am wrapped up very warm, Steve. I think I'm a bit hot at the moment, but well prepared. But no, I've got some pre-games nerves, if I'm honest. Just because it's such a big game and I'm excited for it, really looking forward to it, and I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of the players in the dressing room and how they're feeling. But no, excited and looking forward to the game.
I've got to say, I'm so incredibly envious of your heated socks. I could really do with a pair of those right now. Let's get on with it though, shall we? Lots to discuss. So let's get to the early team news. What do we know already? Well, of course, Jan Bednarek has returned from his loan at Aston Villa and is available this evening. We also know Theo Walcott is available and in contention tonight. Armel Bella-Kotchap and Stuart Armstrong, though, both close to being available, but unlikely to feature this evening. And Juan Lorios and Tino Livramento remain long-term absentees. So, Dean, with all of that in mind, how do you expect the Saints to line up to take on Newcastle this evening?
Well, it'll be an interesting one, Kenzie. Well, I think we spoke after the game on Saturday how Nathan would approach this. Would he try and win the game, or would he try and stay in the tie? So I think that potentially he could go to the 3-5-2 tonight, just because he adapted, changed to that at the weekend, and it seemed to work. Southampton had more control of the ball, seemed to create better opportunities. I could see Cole Walker-Peters going onto the right-hand side as a wing-back, maybe Perrault coming in as a left wing-back and asking them to play really, really high. Lavia sitting in the central midfield, giving that protection to the back four, getting on the ball and trying to dictate play, with James Ward-Prowse pushing on, being that creative midfielder, and maybe Elanusi coming into there, you bringing that energy, that work rate, that goal threat that he has from midfield, and then two strikers up front to try and cause Newcastle a bit of a threat, because defensively they're excellent. They really, really are, and they do not concede many goals. But if you've got two strikers up there running in behind, trying to link with James Ward-Prowse, then I think we could cause Newcastle some problems tonight. So maybe Shea Adams, Mara, Adam Armstrong. I'd like Adam Armstrong to play because of his pace and the willingness to run in behind. But there's depth in the squad. There'll be players that will be desperate to play and impress. So it's intriguing. I'm not sure, but if it was me, I probably would go to the 3-5-2 tonight.
Paul, this is the start of 3 cup games in a row for Southampton, so are you expecting any changes tonight?
Whatever lineup we have, I hope it's the strongest possible for this game. I think it's crucial to try and win this to reach a cup final. The feel-good factor that would whip around the city through the club and everything will be so beneficial and helpful for the rest of the season. At risk of repeating what I said before the Villa game, which was completely wrong, I'd like to see the 2 new signings come in. Certainly Mislav Orsic, I think with the experience he's got, 27 appearances for Croatia, he can create stuff, and that's been something that's really been missing from Southampton recently. He can cross with both feet, he loves a shot as well. We know that he has a pedigree of scoring against Premier League opponents. He's had a hat-trick against Spurs, he scored against West Ham, he's played against Chelsea and all sorts, so he knows big occasion football, he knows what's required, he can add a bit of leadership. And then I'm still of the generation that gets excited about young South Americans coming in, expecting magic and fireworks straight away. Haven't been completely scarred by the likes of Federico Arias and Agustin Delgado that we've had here in the past. I think Charlie Alcaraz hopefully has that magic about him. Everything I've read has been very positive. I suppose the only thing going against him perhaps starting tonight is that it sounds like he's more whereas Orsic will be a winger, play across the front three or the three behind the striker if that's the formation. Alcaraz seems to be more of one in a midfield three, which would involve dropping Lavia, Ward-Prowse or Diallo, which realistically means dropping Diallo, and he's been very good doing the dirty work in recent weeks. So perhaps it's going to be more a start for Alcaraz against Blackpool in the FA Cup at the weekend. But other than that, I think I'd stick mostly the same lineup that we saw against Villa.
Well, as ever, let us know what you think. Send us in your thoughts wherever you're watching on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. But before we talk any more about this evening's game, let's recap what happened on Saturday. Dean, obviously disappointing to lose, and another goal conceded from a set piece. That's now 4 goals conceded in that way in 4 games. Did Southampton do anything wrong there, or was it just an exceptional delivery?
I think it was a lapse of concentration, if I'm honest. I think the delivery was good. I don't think the movement from Ollie Watkins was exceptional. There wasn't any block. The disappointment, if you look at the highlights and what we see in the pictures, there's 8 Southampton defenders against 5 Newcastle players. Now you'd hope that Southampton will be able to deal with that. It looks like the line's very good, so it looks like they're trying to play a high line to catch a run of Newcastle player offside. But it looks like Lianco is with Ollie Watkins and then allows his movement to go in behind him, where Shaletta Shah is with Tyrone Mings, stays with him, Salisu is free, Mara is free, and what happens is they're all staying in their spaces and not seeing the danger. And in those moments, that's what when I talk about personal responsibility, sometimes on a football pitch you just have to see something and react off it and take some action yourself. Now I think Salisu can maybe see that, he can speak to Shaletta Shah and move him across, or go and attack the ball himself. So that's where the development is for me, and that will be where Nathan's looking at it, analysing it, speaking to the players, helping them learn and to stop conceding from set pieces. But as well, I think you can be a little bit more aggressive. It takes players in there and kind of rallying each other up. This is the moments where defenders earn their money, really. It's great they can play out and they're good on the ball, but you've got to defend and keep clean sheets. And Nathan has shown that he wants to keep clean sheets. He doesn't want to concede from set pieces. So it's really, really important tonight, especially tonight, against a big Newcastle team. So that personal responsibility, that small detail is important, but they're improving. The line is good there, which is important. But sometimes you just have to look at it, sense the danger and attack the ball yourself.
Now, Paul, after that game we did speak about James Ward-Prowse's disallowed goal. We were analysing the push in the back and kind of all agreeing that it was soft, but what we didn't really spot was the contact made with Ramsey's foot from Elyounoussi. Now you've seen that, have you changed your mind, or are you still sticking with it was a good goal?
It's a very good point, because I entirely focused on the push. I didn't notice the treading of his heel in real time, all the replays that we saw. Having seen it all again now, my opinion is quite clear. Yes, of course it's still a very good goal. What was VAR doing? I don't know if you saw Jacob Ramsey's post-match interview, but for me, he tripped himself up talking about that. His comments were, Elyounoussi trod on my heel, there was contact, I don't know if it was enough contact to go down, but I went down. Well, surely there he is automatically saying, he's kind of unwittingly said, well, it wasn't enough of a foul. Why, and he takes a step here as well and then goes. His teammates don't appeal. There's a couple of arms up there, but that's sort of saying deal with this or something. They're not appealing for a foul there. The other thing about it, if someone treads on your heel, surely you arch your back and go, ow, backwards. You don't fall forwards. I don't understand how you fall forwards. He takes a step, he goes down, and I think, is this where we are with a contact sport now? That there is contact and someone in a defensive position would rather gamble that he gets the ref's decision than trying to deal with the danger. He said, essentially, I've gambled. He said, contact, I went down, don't know if there was enough contact to go down. I think that's a very risky approach to take to defending. And, we're going back to the clear and obvious debate again as well, because for the referee on first viewing of that to say, no, it's fine, it's a goal, for them to be then sent to the screen, I think the only two clear and obvious errors were the approach of the defending and the decision to overturn it. It's a perfectly fair goal for me.
Well, lots of fans understandably discussing that incident, and they're also discussing the return of Jan Bednarek. That was announced yesterday. He's returned from his loan at Aston Villa, Dean. He could, of course, feature this evening. We'll have to wait and see. Team news coming your way shortly, of course. Now, if Nathan Jones can get him back to his best, what do you think he can bring to this Southampton side?
Well, if Nathan can get him back to his best, a valuable addition. You know, he's a good defender. When Bednarek's in form and confident, he's a very, very good defender. He reads the game well. He's aggressive. He looks like he enjoys defending. He senses danger, what we've just spoke about. He can get a goal from set pieces. I think Nathan's mentioned that he would like to have another defender within the group, so it makes sense to bring him back. He knows the football club. So I think it's a very sensible approach to bring him back, and if he can get him into that form, then it could be excellent. It could be a really, really good decision, because he's a very good defender. I just think that he has moments where he's actually unlucky. You know, with the own goals he scored, it's from him trying to attempt to stop a goal and it just comes off his toe, but that's because he's so committed. But you watch the highlights, he makes interceptions, he puts his head in the way, he puts his body in the way, and he's been an excellent servant for the football club. So he knows how important Premier League football is to this football club. The situation Southampton are sitting bottom of the Premier League, I think it's very, very sensible. So if he can get him back to his best, clever management, and Nathan's shown that he's improving players at the football club. He's a good coach, he's got good coaches with him. They obviously work diligently on the training ground. So I'm glad he's back, if I'm honest.
Well, let's switch our focus now to the Carabao Cup, and we'll start with the last round where Southampton stunned Manchester City.
It's a one-off. Both sides will be desperate to win this. Back to Lianco, that's good play. They're working Grealish off the ball. Then Lianco's lifted it. No one's come out. The keeper stayed back. Mara turns and shoots. It's blocked by Carl Walker and goes out for a goal kick. Poor touch indeed. Ball played in and Saints have the lead. It's a brilliant finish. Who'd have thought Lianco would provide it? Sekou Mara smashed his first goal for Saints, running onto a great cross. So much more identity to this performance. That's a lovely ball from Lavia, and suddenly Genopo's bursting through. He chips the goalkeeper. It's an absolute beauty. It's an absolute beauty from Musa Genopo. As De Bruyne plays Alvarez through, and suddenly he's through on goal. Shoots wide, right-footed, slippy surface. That might change if City get a goal back, of course. We're going to get nervy, all of us. And De Bruyne has it. Good ball from the left, swept to him. In comes Haaland, and out comes Bazunu. And he dives on the ball as Haaland was bearing down on goal from De Bruyne's cross from the right. It's Adam Armstrong brings Carl Walker-Peters into it. City are stretched. Saints in the box. Walker-Peters on the right. Can't get a shot away. Ward-Prowse deflects. Adams, flag up, won't count. 2-0 it stays. Near the left-hand corner of the penalty. Gets a back heel return to him. Gundogan squares it. Should be 2-1, and it isn't. And it's a huge missed opportunity right in front of Gavin Bazunu, helped on away by Diallo out of the box, but City now really pressing. Another floated cross in. Haaland gets a little flick with his head, but Bazunu saves it. Didn't get enough deflection on it. Walker-Peters down the right. He's been excellent tonight. And that's it. Peter Banks says enough is enough. He puts Manchester City, the champions of England, out of their misery. Southampton are through to the semi-finals of the League Cup.
Oh wow, what a night that was. And of course we're hoping for more of the same this evening. Now team news is coming up very shortly, but before we bring you that, let's hear it from the fans, shall we? Lots of you getting very excited as we build up to kick-off. We'll start with this comment here from Sharon on Facebook. Hello. She says good luck and a little fingers crossed emoji. We've also got a comment here from Kevin Sim. He says we need another shock, but a good time to play a very good team who are not on full form. Another comment here from David Piper. Good evening. He says this is our hardest game since beating Man City, so we need to field our best lineup and for them to play 100% as a team. Up the mighty Saints. Let's say hello to a few more of you before we bring you that lineup then. Billy Kelly is watching on YouTube. He's predicting a James Ward-Prowse goal tonight. A comment here from Keegs on YouTube. He says, oh, Musa Gineppo. I'm not going to sing that one. And a comment here from Dwayne Taylor. He says, let's get St Mary's rocking tonight. But Steve, whatever everybody wants to know is who is going to be in that starting 11 this evening.
Well, you've timed that basically perfectly, Kenzie, because the team news has just come in, so I can reveal that for you now. There are 4 changes to the side that faced Aston Villa at the weekend. Mara and Gineppo have come in, and also we have the first starts for Southampton for Mislav Orsic and Charlie Alcaraz. So here's the team, the starting 11 that will face Newcastle tonight. In goal, Gavin Bazunu, Carl Walker-Peters, Lianco, Shaletta Sarr, Mo Salisu, Ibrahima Diallo, Charlie Alcaraz making his debut, our captain James Ward-Prowse, Mislav Orsic, Sekou Mara and Moussa Gineppo completes the front line. And then on the substitutes bench for Southampton tonight, we have Willy Caballero, Jan Bednarek after his recall from Aston Villa, Roman Perraud, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Sam Adozie, Romeo Lavia, Moy El Yunusi, Adam Armstrong and Shea Adams. Paul, we do have first starts for both Mislav Orsic and Charlie Alcaraz. Are you happy to see that?
Yeah, very happy. I'm surprised that Romeo Lavia's dropped out, but not disappointed. I'm very excited to see Charlie Alcaraz in there, and Mislav Orsic. Yeah, he's with Nathan Jones saying that they're both ready to start. You know, that was the only doubt in my mind. Are they up to speed fitness-wise with the demands of, I know it's not a Premier League game, but a game involving 2 Premier League teams. It's going to be high intensity. It's perhaps not quite what they've been used to in previous divisions. So I think it's very exciting. And of course, it's Sekou Mara's competition after last round. So yeah, why not chuck him in? And as we said, against Villa, there are options on the bench. The players who've dropped out, they can come in and make an impact. We saw that the substitutions on Saturday, those players coming in did affect the game. And we want the same again today, because you know, it's not just 90 minutes, it's 2 legs, but it's also, you know, the 11 that start, the 5 that come off the bench, and whoever then features in the second leg as well.
Yeah, Paul makes a very good point there, Dean. The goal scorers who helped knock Man City out of the competition in the last round, they're back in the starting lineup, so they're going to be buzzing for tonight.
They will, Steve, and probably rightly so. You know, Gineppo scored a wonderful goal. Mara scored a great goal in the last round against Man City. So they're both coming with full of confidence. And when they came on the pitch on Saturday, they made a difference as well. So there's real attacking threat within that team. I think it will be the same shape, a very similar approach. Whether it be 2 holding midfield players or 1 holding midfield players and 2 pushing on, we will see. And I think that will depend how the game develops and how Newcastle approach it. But yeah, lots of threat within that team. And you can see Nathan probably wants to try and take a lead to St James's Park. Paul touched on it. The game is there for Southampton to win tonight. There will be a brilliant atmosphere inside the ground. The players will want to start fast, high tempo. There's lots of players within that team that have got lots of energy, enthusiasm, especially the 2 coming in. So excited to see them play tonight. So yeah, the build-up's building, and yeah, excited to the game.
Lianco starts again tonight, Paul. Now, Dean spoke on Saturday about his aggressive style. He had a part in starting the opening goal against Man City as well in the last round of the competition. Are you expecting a similar aggressive style from him again tonight?
I don't think he knows any other way, does he? He's fantastic to watch. He's one of those players, we often talk about attacking players, getting bums off seats, really getting the crowd energised and going. Well, he does this from defence because, I mean, a great interception there. And then what about this ball in? We saw a similar ball at the weekend for the first goal that was disallowed against Villa. But, you know, this is a tremendous bit of play, and it shows how you can set a tone, you can be aggressive, you can really cause big problems while defending. It doesn't all have to be sort of the front men doing the dangerous stuff and threatening up there. The fans, you can understand why they've taken to him. Dean was talking quite rightly earlier about the commitment shown by Jan Bednarek at his best. He is, you know, commitment is all oozing out of every pore of Lianco's body. There's so much passion there. You could see on Saturday when he made a block, an interception, a tackle, he screams at the sky, and you know, he celebrates a tackle like strikers celebrate goals. I was really worried when he was booked within 10 minutes of the game against Villa. He has made some pretty high profile mistakes in recent games, but he was immense the rest of that 90 minutes. I know Saints didn't go on to win, but you know, he was tremendous, and again, you know, he will help this atmosphere tonight. We've got everything. A night game at St Mary's is always special, and with the likes of Lianco setting the tone, the atmosphere will be fantastic.
Yeah, we all love Lianco's passion, but Dean, can we please talk about that Moussa Djenepo goal?
I mean, it's a fantastic goal, and we know Djenepo has got this ability. I suppose that's why we all get a little bit frustrated with him at times, but he's shown in the past. I remember his goal away at Brighton, his goal away at Sheffield United. He scored a goal here at St Mary's where he done a lovely Cruyff turn and sent 2 defenders the wrong way and slotted it in. But it's a wonderful finish, and what I like about the move is Southampton start really brave. So the ball goes into Lavia and he uses his body really, really well, and then he plays a really, I suppose, a brave pass into Djenepo, and Djenepo's come central, which is nice because Kyle Walker-Peters is playing really, really high to give the width. If you look at it, there's 4 or 5, maybe 6 Southampton players ahead of the ball at the time when the ball comes into him. So Man City have to back off. And once he gets the ball at his feet and he's turned and he's running at that Man City defence and he looks up, I'm not sure what the goalkeeper's doing, to be honest. There's a question mark over that. But again, you still have to have the quality and the ability to finish like that. So it's a fantastic finish. It really, really is. And like I say, he has the ability. The celebrations were wonderful. St Mary's was buzzing, it was bouncing, and we need that again tonight. All the players are over there, there's a togetherness, and goals breed confidence. And he is a talented player, he really is, and he can do whatever he wants. And I hope he does something special like that again tonight, because I'd love to see him get a good run in the team. He has to earn that, but with goals like that, performances that he has put in at times, he can have a consistent run in his team.
I could watch that on repeat, couldn't you? Oh, so good. Well, let's shift the focus back to tonight then, shall we? These cup nights really have something special about them, don't they? Always a special feel. And the last time we were in the EFL Cup semi-final was 6 years ago when we beat Liverpool over 2 legs. I mean, talk about special. That was pretty special. What do you remember from the first leg here, Belvers?
I remember not feeling particularly confident going into the game. I think Jose Font had just handed in a transfer request which would put a dampener on the week. Liverpool, the first full season under Jurgen Klopp, they were really starting to tick and put things together. But, you know, Saints had set up safety first perhaps, but then really grew into the game. And Nathan Redmond, he could have had a hat-trick on this in this game. He had 3 or 4, maybe 5 great chances. A lovely little prod through from Jay Rodriguez there for the only goal of the game. And again, it was one of those goals that sent the roof of St Mary's jumping, really. You know, Liverpool at this time, they were without Philippe Coutinho to injury. Sadio Mane, we know well, he was at the Africa Cup, so they perhaps weren't at their strongest, but they had some fantastic players in that team. They had a lot of ex-Saints players in that team as well, of course. Adam Lallana, Dan Lovren, Nathaniel Klein, they all started. And second half, they came into the game a bit more, but Saints had chances as well. You know, we see here Shane Long, who famously caused a lot of problems in the second leg, setting up Nathan Redmond for another chance in late on. And it was a game it was a strange game because, like I said, feared the worst going into it. By the end of the night, it's strange how football can do this to you. Sort of slightly disappointed that there wasn't more of a 1-goal advantage. Virgil van Dijk was immense in that game. Oriol Romeu was a beast in the middle of the park. It was probably one of the games the main game maybe, which triggered Van Dijk's move up to Anfield eventually, because he got injured a game and a half later. We didn't see him the rest of that season, but a tremendous performance all round. And if they can invoke that spirit again, yes please tonight.
Now these 2-leg matches don't come around all that often, do they, Dean? I'm sure you'll remember the Johnson's Paint Trophy semi-final against MK Dons, but you must have been gutted to miss that first leg through injury.
Well, I only do second leg, Steve. They're just the important ones. So I was there. At the time, obviously, I was injured at the time, and it was a competition that Alan Pardew had highlighted that was really, really important at the beginning of the season and would give us momentum to try and get up the league from being on minus points, which it definitely did. It wasn't the best game in the world, but I remember before the game and the preparation, it was all about staying within the leg, try and win the game if possible, but not to concede, and we did that. We went away to MK Dons and won 1-0 with a Michael Antonio goal as it's coming up now. A Ricky Lambert so strong in the air, and Michael just really good, raw at that time, quick, young, a brilliant finish and not a bad celebration as well. I'm not sure I'll be trying that. But you can see behind the goal the amount of support we took away, the atmosphere, what it meant to us as players, what it meant to the fans as well, and it just gave us real confidence and belief going into the second leg. And I was watching from home, so it made me even more determined to get fit, to get back into the second leg. And fortunate enough for me, Morgan got sent off. Not fortunate for him, so I wouldn't say I was smiling at home, but it gave me an added incentive to get fit. So a good result for us, but we were excited going into this game because we knew we were 2 games away from Wembley. And it was a brilliant experience for us to go on and win that trophy. But first legs are really, really important, and the players put a brilliant performance in that night.
And of course, we'll be talking about the second legs of those 2 semi-finals next week as well. Some really fond memories indeed. And speaking of fond memories, Belvers, you were around the club for the 2003 FA Cup final. You were also around in 2010 for the Johnson's Paint Trophy, and of course in 2017 when we reached the final of the EFL Cup. Now, I'm not just saying that to show people just how old you really are, Belvers. Also want to chat to you about how important occasions like this is. It's not just for the players, but for the fans and for the city.
Absolutely, the city comes alive when, because it doesn't happen very often. It's an occasion that the city, the club, the fans, they're not taking for granted. At some clubs, it is just, oh yeah, it's our turn, we're in the final again, whatever. But, it's only happened a handful of times. I certainly wasn't around in 79. I was only born a fortnight before the FA Cup final in 76. So 2003 really was very, very special. I remember it felt like a sort of a going back a couple of decades to when there was a huge build-up to an FA Cup final, because I was working on Meridian at the time, and we did at least a week's build-up, and the whole city, it was Saints were having to wear the away kit, the yellow, which brought back a lot of nostalgia of 76, and so shop fronts had bunting, and butchers would make yellow sausages and things. It was absolutely tremendous. The Millennium Stadium, I remember, was a sea of yellow going in there, up against a tremendous Arsenal side who went on to be invincible, of course, and a disappointing result. 2010, it came after one of the most wretched periods in the club's history, very nearly going out of business, saved by Marcus Liebherr at the start of that season, in the summer. There was such a wave of positivity around. A bit of dodgy transfer business threatened it when they brought in some dodgy midfielder from Colchester. But again, it was for most Saints fans, it was probably the first trip to the new Wembley Stadium. I know a few had gone to see Tottenham up there a couple of years before, but these occasions are so much better when you win, and that really was a statement win. The Johnston's Paint Trophy isn't the most glamorous, but it meant an awful lot. And again, the city just embraced that occasion. And then that takes us on to the robbery of 2017. Manola Gabbiadini was clearly onside. We didn't have VAR for another year, 18 months or whatever. If it had been there that day, it would have been completely different. That was, again, that was sort of probably closest to not quite feeling run of the mill, but it was sort of a natural next step, because Saints had been finishing top 8, top 6 over the 3 previous seasons. We'd had European football here at St Mary's. It felt natural to be in a cup final. Unfortunately, it was sort of the beginning of the end a little bit. So if the club gets to this League Cup final or the FA Cup final, or both this season, why not? Then again, the city will completely come alive. It's a great city to be in at any time of year, but especially around cup final time when the football club is in there.
Indeed. Well, we've already played Newcastle at home this season, Dean. We did lose 4-1, but Southampton had 16 shots to Newcastle's 7, although Newcastle scored with all 4 of their attempts on target, so it wasn't really as one-sided as the scoreline suggested.
It wasn't, Steve. Newcastle on the day were clinical, really, really clinical. Southampton could have done better in vital moments with their defending, as we're going to see from the goals. Cole Walker-Peters, diving in there, really could have stood on his feet. But Southampton had chances, Stuart Armstrong, a lovely cross. Elanusi, if we're honest, needs to score there. That makes it 1-1 at half-time, which would have changed the game again. And then the chance in the second half, early in the second half, for Shea Adams. It's a brilliant cross from Elanusi on the break. Shea Adams, brilliant technique, but I'm not sure he really ever believed he was going to score in that moment. Again, that would have changed the game. And then moments like here, Salisu Chris was just a little bit stronger than him, just wants it a little bit more. It's a lovely finish, don't get me wrong, but it's just a little bit stronger. And it was these moments again, Perraud trying to get to the ball a little bit too eager, just needs to hold his ground, and then Newcastle break it, and again clinical finish. And like you say, they had 4 shots on target and scored with all 4 goals. Almost got back into the game with a wonderful goal from Perraud. Brilliant, you think he's going to cross it here, comes inside, lovely finish with his right foot. We're hoping, can Southampton get back into the game? But it wasn't meant to be. Newcastle were just better and more clinical in the important moments, and they ran away 4-1 winners. It wasn't a 4-1 game like you say. Did they deserve to win? Probably. But going on that, Southampton had opportunities. Elanusi, Shea Adams. If we get those tonight and we can take them, it can change the game, and it can change the tie and can change the leg.
That match on November 6th, Newcastle have played 10 matches and they've kept 9 clean sheets, which truly is a staggering defensive record, and the only team to score against them was Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup. Belvis, what do you make of Newcastle and the job Eddie Howe is doing?
They will undoubtedly become a club that I grow to detest, because they are going to dominate English football, aren't they, with the resources they have available to them. But I think they deserve great credit for not doing what everyone expected them to do and do at Chelsea and spend £500 million in 2 transfer windows. They have spent money, £60 million Alexander Isak, 30 million on Botman, 30 million on Guimaraes, but they are clearly going about it a slightly different way. It seemed to be a more patient way, and yet the rewards are coming a lot earlier. This time last year, they were second from bottom with 12 points from 20 games. Worse off than Southampton are right now. Now, third in the table. They are extraordinary. They do not concede goals. 11 in 20 games in the Premier League so far. And they are playing some very attractive football at times. I've got a huge soft spot for Eddie Howe. I worked with him a fair bit when I was at Meridian. He was a player at Bournemouth, and then a coach, and then a manager. And quite how leaky Bournemouth manager has become solid, defensive, incredible, tight at the back manager at Newcastle is baffling to me. But I admire him an awful lot. I do think they're going to be an enormously tough opponent here this evening, but I also think they're vulnerable. I think they're struggling to score goals at the moment, despite some of the resources they've got available. I think they've, last time out they squeaked past Fulham at St James's Park in a game that they should have lost. Mitrovic very unlucky with the hitting the penalty twice. So, a bit of luck has gone their way. Tonight, that luck's going to run out.
He always does it so convincingly, doesn't he? Well, we're getting your score predictions in just a moment's time. Before we do that, though, let's hear from the fans one last time on our pre-match show. Also sending us in their thoughts and their score predictions. Aaron Fryer thinks it's going to be 2-0 to the Saints tonight. He's loving the lineup as well. Pauline Way on Facebook says, good luck tonight, Saints. We're also hearing from James Parsons. Hello to you. He says the 2 new signings to make an impact on the score sheet, with James Ward-Prowse to add a third. Kirsty, good evening. She says, decent lineup. Come on, Saints, do us proud. And we've got another comment here from David, who is also going for a 2-0 Saints win, Steve.
Okay, well, as you can see, the fans are flooding in behind us with less than 45 minutes to go until kick-off here at St Mary's. So we'll get your final thoughts, chaps, and those all-important score predictions. Dean, how do you see tonight going?
I think it may be a slow burner. I think both teams will have a look at each other and see how they're going to approach it. But I'm hopeful and confident tonight, and I think it's going to take, and it will be, a really good defensive display from Southampton. Not many chances in the game, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 Southampton win, and I think that would be a brilliant result going into the second leg at St James's Park. And
Paul, you've been pretty staunch in your confidence of a result here tonight, but what's your score prediction?
I can't believe he's still so negative, thought it would be rubbing off by now. I think we're going to see the Southampton against Man City style of Saints play tonight. I think they're going to come out of the blocks, really go at Newcastle. Orsic is going to score in his debut, that's guaranteed. So 2-0.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It really gets you excited, doesn't it? We're very much looking forward to kick off here. Belvestein, thank you ever so much. We're remaining optimistic for a Southampton win, but whatever happens in this one, do make sure you join us after the game for the final whistle when we'll be talking about the match. We'll see you then.
See you soon.